Welcome to this edition of Northwest Real Estate Forum. I'm your host, Patricia Wangsness. Our passion is to help you understand the art, science, and timing of real estate and use it to your advantage. Whether you are buying, selling, or sitting on the sidelines, we want you to have the up-to-date information about what is impacting your biggest asset, your home. Our guest today is Debbie Whitlock. Debbie is the president of Sound Financial Partners, and among her other successes, she's the host of her own nationally syndicated radio show, Femme Finance. Debbie specializes in helping women and others translate the foreign language of finance to develop a personal investment strategy to take them from where they are now to where they want to go. Welcome, Debbie.
Thanks, Patricia. It's good to be here.
So as a financial planner, you look at the overall picture of someone, some families or individuals. What would be an indication and how would you advise them to look at the financial part of their home and their overall assets?
Well, I think that it needs to be part of a strategic and early conversation, especially for a young couple. I think that there's been a time for us as a country where, this path to home ownership was what everyone was expected to do without a lot of thought about why and how it would really add ultimately to the overall portfolio in terms of an asset, how long you would hold it, expected appreciation of that asset, and then what the intended outcome was for it. Are you going to stay there for 5 years? Is it something that you're getting as a good deal and your intention is to upgrade it and then turn it over or flip it, I guess as you call in the industry, and take that and leverage yourself into something else? So it needs to be part of an early conversation for people, and if they haven't had it, they need to sit down with their advisor and figure out where in their financial plan does that house fit in, and at what point will it make sense to have the conversation of it's time to move on with this asset, it's time to sell this asset, or how it's going to affect them long term.
Okay. So because of all the real estate turmoil and everything in the press, a lot of people are sitting on the sidelines and renting.
Yep.
What would be an indication for you in somebody's financial picture that you would say it's time to get off the fence and buy?
Right. The reality is there's no time like the present. I mean, the market is a beautiful time in history to be purchasing real estate. How it affected it's a real advantage. I mean, it's the whole idea of, things are on sale right now. And if you've been a renter for years and you've been questioning whether or not it makes sense for you to buy, you were concerned because you thought the market was too high and now it's come down again. Now is the time to do it because things are on sale and you're going to get a good value. Combine that with the interest rate on your mortgage. Interest rates are still historically very low. It's a good time to be able to capitalize on that opportunity and then to be able to see this through for whatever period of time makes sense for your plan.
So speaking of period of time, let's fast forward a little bit. And what would be an indication for you, you would advise a client that it's time to sell? What good, bad, what are the indicators?
So they're probably, they go back to the life events. Oftentimes single people buy a condo, their first condo together, individually. They're looking to merge households. It's probably time to sell, have a conversation about selling one or both potential properties and leveraging yourself into a home now that you can blend all of your goods. And then another time would be, obviously marriage, bringing babies home. Oftentimes what's really conducive to, a couple or a single person's lifestyle is not conducive to having children. Maybe the townhome that seemed really attractive to you when you were a single person or a newlywed couple with very little reason to want a big yard and to have those types of commitments. Now when you bring a child home, the concerns or the desire to have a safe yard for them to play in, to bring the puppy home, to the toddler, it's all those life events that come together. And then you go into the issues of, the not always pleasant conversations of, end of life decisions. Spouses have died. You now have a home that's a couple thousand square feet. That's a lot of maintenance for a widow or a widower on their own. Maybe the floor plan isn't conducive to them as they age. And then the issue of divorce. It may not make sense for a divorced woman, based upon the income that she's expected to be generating, to keep the family home. And so that really needs to be a very frank conversation with your advisor moving forward so that you understand. I just had a conversation recently with some clients who thought that their plan would be like 4 or 5 years before they would be selling the home that they're currently in and then relocating. Life has taken them in a different direction, and that 4 or 5 year plan is now happening at the 2-year mark. So you need to have a conversation. You need to be keeping your advisor informed as to where you are emotionally. They're pretty aware of what's happening for you financially, but they also need to be able to work with you to help that transition out.
Great advice for people to consider. Thanks very much, Debbie.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching this edition of Northwest Real Estate Forum. To learn more about this and our other shows, please visit us at northwestrealestateforum.com. While you're there, be sure to order your free copy of the Buyer's Guide and Seller's Guide for great ideas on how to get the most out of buying and selling your home. I'm your host, Patricia Wangsness. See you next time.